Good evening, parents and students, and welcome to our webinar where we explore ISB's high school. My name is Robert Tyler, and I am ISB's Director of Partnerships. Today, we'll be hearing from Justyna, Curt, and Rosalind, who are not only seasoned experts in their field, but also parents of ISB high schoolers and middle schoolers currently. This webinar will last 1 hour, and you have been put on mute, but please do type questions for Rosalind into the Q&A box, as she will address these either at the end, or if they are specific to you, she will direct message you through the Q&A function during the webinar itself. So I'll be giving you a brief introduction about ISB and our history before passing over to Curt and Justyna, who will spend the majority of our time together focused on the high school's unique academic and counseling programs that really set us apart, both in Thailand and also the wider region. We'll finish up with a Q&A with Ros, so please type those questions into the Q&A box. And we'll also give you information on our inquiry and application process, where you can then start your journey with ISB. So anybody who knows Bangkok's restaurant scene will know what a melting pot of nationalities and cultures Bangkok is. This is no different at ISB, with 65 nationalities represented in our student body. However, what sets us apart is 74 years of a legacy of excellence. And it's no wonder so many families, particularly those mobile families, trust ISB to take their students to the next step in their learning journey. In our 74-year history, we haven't always been on the expansive campus that we enjoy today. We actually started on the grounds of the US Embassy before migrating to Sukhumvit Soi 15 in downtown Bangkok. In the 1990s, we had the opportunity to significantly expand the academic, athletic, and artistic programs we could offer to our students by moving to our campus you see today here in North Bangkok. You can see this is a wonderful precursor to campus life that so many of our graduates will enjoy when they head off to college. But it's not just the physical campus that prepares us high school students so well for college. It's being comfortable with operating in a diverse international learning community with students from a variety of backgrounds. The parents of these students come from all walks of life: business owners, diplomats, corporate assignees, and UN workers. But what we have really seen in recent years is an increase in the number of families physically relocating to Bangkok for ISB's high school alone. Today, we had over 300 registrations for this webinar about our high school. This represents nearly 50% of the current occupied seats in our high school. So this really demonstrates the popularity of this high school division and also the importance of registering your interest early with us. So lastly, we have a wonderful network of alumni across the world. We're proud to showcase some of the alumni here on the screen who've gone on to find success in diverse industries from politics, academia, entertainment, and also business. So without further ado, I'll pass over to Justyna to tell us more about ISB's high school experience.
Thank you, Robert. Yes, my name is Justyna McMillan, and I am proud to be the High School Dean of Academics here at ISB. And I'd like to welcome you to tonight's webinar, where we're going to be taking you through an overview of what it really is like from the student's perspective in our high school. And these are our sort of key takeaways that we'd like you to take from tonight in a strong focus in our academic pathways. And I'd be remiss in not mentioning the academics as the Dean of Academics, where we'll sort of, we have fantastic teachers who teach our courses, a variety of different opportunities for students to choose pathways that really fit their particular learning style and preference, leading them on to success later on in life. And we also have lots of opportunities outside of the classroom that really sort of help to fulfill that student's sort of potential. And this really is a very holistic approach to learning and the high school experience. And this is all supported by our expertly guided and facilitated college and school counseling and mentorship approach that we have to students. So next slide, please. This is our high school program at a glance. And as you know, high school is a 4-year journey for our students, and starting with the academics, and we'll go into each of these in a little bit more depth. Really sort of in grade 9, when students start off in the high school, it is a chance for them to build those foundational knowledge in a variety of different courses, as they move through the high school, and then sort of increasingly have a more personalized experience as they build their capacity. And then they are supported in that with their co-curricular experience, and those counseling programs that I've mentioned, but we'll go into more depth in a moment. Next slide, please. So first of all, a focus on our academic pathways. And these really are highly differentiated over the expansion of 4 years of that high school journey, to help empower students to figure out who they are, what they're interested in, their strengths, and then obviously as they move on through the high school, to start thinking what's beyond high school with college, university, or even beyond, making sure that experience they get here is really sort of preparing them well to be future global citizens around the world. And we have some wonderful opportunities in terms of pathways, academic pathways for our students, starting off with the IB Diploma Program. We're very proud to be one of Thailand's, actually it's the oldest IB Diploma Program in Thailand, and certainly sort of in the region as well. So it's a very well-established program, and we're incredibly proud to have a really vast array of courses on offer in our IBDP. More recently, we have expanded our advanced placement program as well, and we have some wonderful options for our students who wish to pursue this incredibly rigorous accelerated learning pathway coming from College Board in the US, with these specific courses that are year-long courses. And these sit alongside our ISB courses that we also offer, and students can actually pick and choose from those two particular pathways, which is the IB or the AP, to have what we call our hybrid pathway as well. And it doesn't matter which of the pathways students choose, they are guaranteed to have a very rigorous experience that will challenge them, and make sure that the courses that they choose will align with their future aspirations. And they will all end up with a high school diploma that is fully accredited, that will certainly sort of be what they will require to have as they enter university or college beyond high school. Next slide, please. So just a little bit more about each of those pathways. So firstly, the IB Diploma Program, it is very well renowned around the world. It's an internationally recognized qualification that students choose to take in the last 2 years of high school. So that would be in grades 11 and 12. And it's renowned for its interdisciplinary approach that really sort of fosters critical thinking, and students have to choose at least six courses from the IB Diploma Program to really sort of show their breadth as a student. And it is a 2-year sort of journey that they would embark on if they choose to go for the full IB Diploma Program. The AP, Advanced Placement, these are college-ready courses, college-level courses for those students who can choose to take this type of course, which is an accelerated learning course, as early as grade 10. And we are really excited about the number of students that have recently taken up these courses here at ISB, as this has been something we've been working on, expanding this as a robust pathway alongside our IB Diploma. And it really is a great opportunity for students to take courses when they're college ready as a high school student, thus earning them potentially college credit as a high school student before they go off to college and university, and really demonstrate their skills and ability and knowledge in those specific targeted areas. Our ISB courses, which are our foundational courses in grades 9 and 10, and also lots of other opportunities for students who choose not to take those courses with the external qualification of the IB Diploma or Advanced Placements. They're also highly rigorous courses that are designed to sort of foster curiosity and make sure that our students are really developing themselves as learners and are being well prepared for their future. And I already mentioned this idea of the hybrid pathway. So that's further sort of personalizing student learning, where students can choose to maybe mix and match some IB diploma, some advanced placement courses in grades 10, 11, 12, alongside some ISB courses to really decide what suits them best as a learner, their learning profile, and aligns with possible future aspirations for college and university, making sure that they are going to be successful graduates from ISB. Next slide, please. So we often get asked, what's the best fit for my child? What's the best option? And it really is very much up to each individual learner. The way that we counsel students, and my colleague Curt will talk a little bit more about this, but through their academic pathways, we really try to support students to make sure that they have all of the information on hand to make that choice that suits them best. And it really does depend on them as learners. So for their learning style, for example, that might be something that would then indicate the type of course that the student might choose over their 4-year journey, and certainly sort of really thinking about those last 2 years of high school in 11th and 12th grade. With the IB diploma, for example, you've got that interdisciplinary rigor that the IB is very well renowned for over the 2 years, but it is a 2-year commitment. Whereas the AP, these courses are fast-paced, accelerated learning courses, and it is a 1-year course as opposed to the 2-year program of the IB diploma. And our ISB courses are also allowing students to demonstrate their learning in a variety of different ways. So that might be one way that students would decide what would be the better suited option for them. Assessments are a little bit different in the different courses. Our own ISB courses certainly prepare students for the variety of different assessments that they will find if they choose to go in an IB pathway or for the AP, meaning that they'll have a variety of different ways that they can demonstrate their knowledge, their skills. So it's not just about writing essays and taking tests, but they will be often asked to present in class, do project work together, solve problems collaboratively. And that really sets them up to be successful with whichever pathway they choose once they move on from grade 9 and into 10, 11, 12 as they're increasingly sort of personalizing their learning. The IB diploma is a little bit more holistic in its assessments with a lot of application in context, whereas the AP is known for that one standardized exam that students will take at the end. So that might suit some students better, that they will actually just be tested on the knowledge that they've learned over that year with that one examination, versus the IB diploma that has coursework components and variety of different assessment styles, as well as the examination at the end of 2 years. Flexibility might be something else that students might wish to focus on when looking at how to choose those options. Our ISB diploma, obviously, depending on which pathway and which courses students choose, offers a huge amount of flexibility. The IB diploma has flexibility within it, in that there's a lot of options of courses that students can choose from the specific subject groups that the IB requires students to take if they take that full diploma, and it is a 2-year program. Whereas the AP, there really isn't a designated program that the students have to choose if they want to take individual AP courses. So that really sort of allows for that customization much earlier on, potentially, than if a student were to choose the fixed framework of the IB diploma. All of our courses are accredited and recognized. We are accredited as a school by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, which is WASC. So that means all of our ISB courses have that sort of stamp of approval and rigor. And obviously the IB diploma and College Board with the AP, these are accredited by those particular entities, and we adhere to all of their particular requirements and standards and practices associated with those, making sure that when our students graduate either as IB students or AP students, and they earn those qualifications, they are external qualifications by those bodies. Next slide, please. So these are some of the courses that I've mentioned before in terms of the variety of different options that our students have, from over 112 ISB courses that they can choose over the 4 years of high school, 123 IB courses that we offer, and these are mostly all offered at both standard and higher level, so students can really choose which ones they're most interested in to show their strengths as they build their portfolio. And then we're really excited to continue expanding our advanced placement courses. And next year, from August 2025, we'll actually have on offer 21 AP individual courses for our students to choose from. So you can really see there's a huge array of courses that span all the different subject areas that really allow students that personalized approach as they choose their four. Next slide, please. It's not just about the academics, though I mentioned that at the beginning. We do have a very holistic approach to our learners and learning, and hoping that students have a variety of different opportunities that sit outside of our rigorous academic programs. And DELV, which is our Week Without Walls, many schools have a program like this, but DELV stands for Discover, Experience, Learn, Volunteer, Enrich, is probably one of the highlights of a school career for all of our high school students. It is a requirement for graduation and really allows students an opportunity for a week-long cultural experience with a lot of meaningful service partnerships alongside their peers, which are often incredibly unforgettable, and certainly sort of allows our students to make lots of memories and be impactful future this particular experience as well. And I think the next slide shows just a few photos of some of the wonderful experience of our DELV trip this past November, where all of our high school is off timetable on their DELV experiences over that whole week. And you can see some great opportunities there, both in terms of stepping outside of comfort zones, potentially with some experiences with hands-on service learning, maybe sort of some animal welfare programs, embarking on sort of educational programs with younger students. And these are both in Thailand as well as international trips that our students can choose from. And they really are the highlight of our high school sort of journey for many students. Next slide. And I'll pass it on to Curt now, who'll take us through that supportive program that we have in our counseling.
Again, my name is Curt Nichols. I am the Director of University Counseling here at ISB. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about who I am and where I come from, because I know that's important in our department to know who's advising your children. But also, I think it'll tell you kind of why we are doing what we're doing. So I personally have over 20 years of experience in counseling, particularly college counseling, a good portion of which has been leading counseling programs in Tier 1 international schools in Asia. I also have highly selective admissions experience, spending several years with UC Berkeley. And I was actually the second reader on international student applications and read the bulk of those from Thailand at the time. And then I also spent 6 years in an elite prep school in LA as a college counselor. And I have spent time as an independent educational consultant. So that is important to know, because it's those experiences that shape the vision and philosophy of how we're leading college counseling in international education here at ISB. But I just want to focus on one thing in particular. And I stepped into this role this year, and I charged our team with the goal to be world-class practitioners in college counseling. And so what that looks like, we are personally invested in all students and their parents. We are honest, encouraging, empathetic, and patient through mentorship and coaching. Our offices are places that are free of judgment. We are family and student-centered in our approach. And we are highly knowledgeable and skilled with a humble and eager approach to continuous learning because this field of admissions is constantly evolving. I also want to point out that ISB has a strong commitment to keeping our caseload small, which I am thankful for. Currently, we have 8 counselors in our high school, or about 80 students to 1 counselor. And I can guarantee that we will be adding to our team in the future. So we have time for your children, and even in the busiest months, we will make time. And we can go on to the next slide. So just a short bit about our results, which I know are probably also important to you. Keep in mind that while our admissions is selective, it's not always super selective in ISB. The admitting students to ISB just about academic performance like a US prep school might be. So not all of our students are the highest academic achievers. We have a broad range of academic achievers. And so the great thing for us is that our results are strong from top to bottom. I just looking at last year's class, I was pretty astonished to see that even kids in the bottom 10% of our class were going to top 100 schools. And that's pretty phenomenal. I think that speaks volume about the quality of our results. We also have a strong US going culture. That 44% UC going to the US is actually on our low end. 2/3 of this year's classes apply to the US. And I would say our families often see value in the education there of the whole person experience. From the class of 2024, 85% of students were admitted to one of their top 3 colleges, which we're super proud of. They're admitted to the top schools in every country they apply to. And I am really excited about our early results from the class of 2025, and they suggest positive momentum in terms of our results. Next slide. So in international education, there's no doubt that this team that I am directing is uniquely talented and experienced. And honestly, I consider myself extremely lucky. I'm working, and a promise to you, I am working so extremely hard to ensure that this team will be here for a long time. Together, just the 4 of us have roughly 80 years of experience in the field, about 30 of which are in selective college admission and another 50 years counseling in schools, which means our network is vast. This team, they are considered leaders in our field, and they're not learning the field, but they're actually part of the conversation of the future of admissions. And then down at the bottom of that slide, you see some of the things we do. I will say our bread and butter is our one-on-one support, our personalized individual support of students and families. That is what we spend the most time doing day in, day out. We are coaching students for 4 years through high school, which is pretty unique. Most college counseling programs run for 2 years for grades 11 and 12. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. Hundreds of colleges visit us each year. Colleges know ISB and our community. And honestly, I have to say they love our students. Our students report that when they go to college or university that they are over-prepared for not just the first year, but probably the second year as well. And the college admissions, my friends in admissions tell me routinely that our students are not just an average student when they get there. They are actually leading, and often from the get-go. And finally, we run many seminars for parents in our community throughout the year. Next slide, please. Okay, so I mentioned that we are coaching students from grade 9. And this is a change that we made. Oh, the biggest reason for that is admissions has changed so much in the past 15 years. It is so absurdly competitive these days that we have found it necessary to catch our students from the day they enter high school. And I'll be honest, we want our families to feel that an independent consultant is unnecessary. And I'd just like to ask you a question. Isn't it better if your personalized coach, your personalized college counselor, is the one who is also advocating for your child to the colleges? So that's what we hope for our kids, and that's why we meet them from grade 9. So grade 9 is really about giving students the opportunity to do what really matters and to know the difference between the realities of college admission and the disinformation. And it's age appropriate, so as not to heighten their anxiety, but really to set them at ease, that they should be authentic in the things they're doing. We help them set goals and encourage them to engage with authentic purpose. Grade 10 is a refining and repurposing year as they're now experienced. We begin to work with them even more individually, coaching them to more specific goals and requirements. And then in grade 11, we begin our taught class for each of us teach our own students. So we call that junior seminar, which meets 9 times for 80 minutes. We start with self-reflection and move into university research, list building, and get into essay brainstorming. And second semester then is when we really pick up steam with our grade 11 students, and we see them one-on-one roughly every 3 weeks. And then in grade 12, we see our students a lot. Individually, we see them at least every 2 weeks, often every week, sometimes more than that, while they're in their application season. And that begins in August for most of our kids. We help them from start to finish on their applications. We spend an enormous amount of time with them critiquing every single draft of the essays they write. And I am excited to say, I love this. We have a dedicated writing coach who we partner with. So the counselor can focus on the content of the essay, and the writing coach does not just sit and edit their essays. They teach them to write better and write more effectively. So it's a great resource that we have. Next slide. Okay, and the partners in our office, the school counselors, they are wonderful people. 4 of them spend a great deal of time supporting our students individually for well-being. I have to say, there are always students in their offices. Here at ISB, it's not taboo to see your counselor. And frankly, I would say that's because our students know that our counselors' care is deeply genuine. Our school counselors work very closely with our robust advisory program as well, pushing into classrooms to deliver workshops related to the many, many issues teens deal with these days. And then finally, the school counselors actually lead our course selection process in our office. And the college counselors have worked in support of that, also meeting with students to ensure that they are choosing courses that meet college and university admission requirements. But next year, our plan is actually to sit with each student together. So all 3 of us in one room, the school counselor, the university counselor, and the student. I wish I had that kind of support when I was in high school, to be honest. It's 360 degrees of support to really ensure that each student is making the best possible choices for them. And next slide. Thank you. Back to Justyna.
Thank you, Curt. As Curt mentioned, this incredible amount of support that we're able to offer our students, not just to help them choose the right academic pathways, but really sort of making sure that their entire high school experience and their journey is representing who they are, and they are also being supported in terms of their social and emotional well-being as well. We're very proud to be working together and collaborating as a team in this sort of very holistic approach as our students go through that experience. Apart from the academics and some of those co-curricular experiences that I've already mentioned, such as Delve, we also know that it's really important to provide students with opportunities where they can demonstrate who they are, their passions, and also sort of develop really important skills that will set them up for success as they move through beyond high school and into college and even sort of the job market. And leadership opportunities here at the school, we really do have a lot of different ways that our students can be leaders. And I would say all of our students are leaders to some in some capacity, but by far one of the sort of most prominent ways that our students can develop their leadership skills is either through our student council program or by serving as a leader on one of the other councils that exists here in the high school, which is our Arts Council, House Service, Tech and Varsity Council. Each of these will have a president, vice president, and representatives that are elected by their peers. And these really sort of provide students with incredibly important opportunities where they can collaborate together, sort of make plans to make our high school a better place for their peers, solve problems together, learn how to communicate effectively, and really sort of then allow them to develop very important skills that will serve them well in the future as they move through. Next slide, please. Apart from our councils, students are also able to get their teeth into our student-led clubs, either in terms of leaders, so they could actually set up a club themselves that really would reflect something they're particularly interested in and want to engage in further, or sort of participate in one of these clubs just as a participant to explore a little bit more deeply something they might be interested in. We have over 50 student-led clubs every year, many that continue on year by year because they have become such a huge part of the identity and the culture here at the school. And really sort of these clubs allow students opportunities to engage meaningfully, both in the community here at ISB and certainly far beyond, advocate for sort of important causes that are very dear to their hearts, and allow them sort of to engage in sort of hands-on experiences as well, fundraise potentially. So we really do have lots and lots of opportunities of these type as well that sit alongside the academics and other experiences that we offer that our students really value and are an incredibly important part of who we are as a school and what we believe in. Next slide. Our athletics program, I think, are also a massive, massive highlight for our student and something that ISB is very famous for, not least because of the amazing facilities that you saw at the very beginning of the presentation when Robert mentioned our move to the current sort of campus that we have, where we have an expansive facility for our athletics programs to allow all of our students to either explore something they maybe are interested in and would like to develop further, or actually sort of really focus on being a student athlete in a particular sport. And you can see there a wide variety of sports that we offer. We've got 4 seasons, and students can try to either sort of reach that varsity level, which obviously lots of students would love to be a varsity level athlete, but they can also be on the JV or just sort of play for pleasure as they're sort of exploring these different programs. And one of the highlights for our athletics programs is our IASIS conference. And this is, we are part of a conference along with a number of other very well-known schools in the region that you can see here. So that will be Taipei American, Jakarta Intercultural, Singapore American, International School of Kuala Lumpur, just to name a few. And all of our students who are varsity level athletes, they all want to be part of IASIS and travel to all these wonderful schools. We also host IASIS obviously on our own campus, and these interscholastic experiences for our athletes are some of the most wonderful experiences that really our students can have, that really sort of promote and develop their cultural sort of competence, and collaborate with other students and play sports with other students who are like-minded from different walks of life. Next slide. So this is a little bit more again about our facilities in that campus. So you've got another sort of bird's eye picture of our facilities that really support our students to develop their athletic abilities. We've got a certified 400-meter track, 5 athletic fields plus a baseball pitch. So we're sort of really fortunate there. 12 tennis courts, 5 of which are covered. A couple of different pools, a 25-meter and a 50-meter pool. We've got a wonderful golf center as well, as that is a program that we're sort of expanding, as well as many air-conditioned gyms where students can enjoy a respite from some of the heat that occasionally we might have on our sports fields, and play indoor sports in our different filtered gyms. So these are great facilities. We've got wonderful coaches that support students through this part of our program. And maybe I'll leave this slide for Curt, who can chime in, as this is something that's really important to many of our top athletes, and he can tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's extremely rare actually for an international school to have even just 4 students going off to play high-level competitive athletics abroad. So I can say a couple things. Number one, college counseling is a big part of that too, in helping to facilitate recruitment. And again, we are uniquely experienced in doing that. Several of us in our office have just a wealth of experience supporting athletes who are recruited to play collegiately. So we actually identify athletes as early as grade 9. So we are in constant communication with our director of athletics and our coaches to identify genuine potential recruits. And then in the college counseling office, we support them through the entire recruitment, so that they don't have to go out and use agencies to get that done. We can help them here in-house and have been quite successful.
Thanks, Curt. And I just want to finish off by also mentioning the arts. We cannot forget the arts, of course. Apart from our sports facilities, we also have extensive facilities that support our students to develop themselves artistically in a variety of different arts programs. The IASIS conference I mentioned for the athletics is also for arts, and you can see here some of the IASIS competitions or cultural conventions that our students enter as an artist. So that would be for piano, band, strings, and vocals. And again, they happen with the same schools around the region, with exchanges that I've already mentioned. Dance is a huge program here at the school, where we have so many students every year sort of either doing it for the first time or continuing to sort of develop themselves artistically in a variety of different genres in dance. And it really is something that we're very proud of. And we've got 2 beautiful theatres on campus where our students can have their final performances highlighted in dance or in one of the sort of strings or music ensembles that I've already mentioned. Next slide. We also obviously have theatre and drama, and this is both in the curriculum during the day, but also falls outside of the curriculum where students can continue to do that, either for IASIS or just because they want to explore that particular type of artistry outside of the curriculum, where we've got foreplay and musicals as well that happen interchangeably, where students can experience and demonstrate their artistic qualities through that medium. Next slide. And apart from dance, drama, athletics. We've also got a number of other opportunities open for our students, different competitions, IASIS Forensics and Debate, TED Youth programs, robotics, design technology, Model United Nations. Obviously, lots of different ways that our students can really explore their particular areas of interest and their passions as they sort of go through our 4-year high school experience. So really, it is that very holistic sort of approach to developing a learner and scholar as they move through our 4 years here that helps to prepare them for success and hopefully helps them shine as they apply to colleges and universities and sort of makes them much more exciting and interesting candidates, and not to mention good human beings as well. Next slide. I think that's it for us for now.
Okay, thank you, Justyna, and thank you, Curt. And please stay on the line in case we have any questions that need answering. So right now, I'll pass over to Rosalind from our admissions team.
Wow, that's like so many things that students can do here. And I really wish I can go back and become a student again in high school, maybe. Actually, I'm actually more fortunate than that. I think I have two children myself in the high school, so they are really benefiting from all these different academic and outside the classroom activities that's provided at ISB to suit with themselves and who they are. And I really wish to be able to share this with other parents who are out there finding the path of what's right for their children, because guess what? I have 2 kids and they're totally different. So I totally understand why we need, all the different pathway that fits each individual student. Rob, maybe I can go, before I go to, there's like a lot of questions here. Maybe we can go through the part on what's next for admissions first, and then maybe we can go back to some of the questions that we have. Okay, so in terms of what's next, we're of course, like my team in the admissions office here at ISB, we're very happy to be able to support you more. You've seen a lot of things online today, but I think what's best is if it's possible for you to come and visit our campus and meet us, see all the facilities that we have. And what's more, we try our best to match you with maybe some of our students in high school who can actually share their experience and show you around the campus as well. So if you feel that you can visit us, please just log in and book a tour with us, and we'll love to have you visit. I know quite a few of you who are joining today are not here in Bangkok or not in Thailand. So if you are interested for either myself or one of my team, my colleagues to Zoom or have a virtual tour, go through all your personal questions about your case, then we're very happy to do that as well. So we can also book kind of a virtual tour and a virtual meeting together. Then, of course, there is also the link here provided. I think the QR code here is also linked to our application. So we welcome applications that come through. I must say, though, that we are already reviewing applications for those starting August this year, or for the 25-26 school year, and right now already starting to admit students. So I do say that there's usually the sooner you can apply, you will not have the problem of capacity. But right now we're already starting to give out seats. So please, if you're interested in 25-26, you can start the application now. But if you're looking for the future, we're always happy to support you. We also leave our contact here. There's an email contact at the bottom here. Just put in any questions that you have after this, and we're happy to get in touch with you and support you with all your questions. Okay, so a number of
Rosalind,
questions.
Rosalind, we just have one question coming in now, and I think this is a good one. It's if my child takes the hybrid, how would it affect university acceptances? And I think maybe we can direct that one to Curt, and maybe Justyna, you can chime in as well.
Yeah, so it's a short question with a very complex answer, mainly because it really depends on the country to which your student is interested in applying to. So what I will say is not all of our students should mix their curriculum. And so that's why we work so individually with our families and student to give them personalized answers to their questions. So, you know, for some of our families, they should go either full IB diploma or more AP without mixing as much. But I will say this, the students who choose the hybrid pathway, which is a mix of IB and AP courses, they do because it provides them tremendous flexibility and opportunity to mix and match, to highlight their own strengths, to pursue their own interests, and to do that to the best of their ability. So I can say the countries that are perfectly happy with a hybrid pathway, and I guess I'll just focus on the U.S. Because that's where most of our students go. Really, the U.S. is not so concerned with whether you chose one or the other, but why you chose the courses you did and how you performed in those courses. So it's more about the story of it. And so again, it gives students tremendous freedom and opportunity to do what's best for them. So yeah, the admissions results can be as best as they can be choosing the hybrid pathway.
Justyna, would you like to add anything to that?
No, I think Curt explained it really well.
Okay, Rose.
That's actually another question that just came through on the AP, and they want to know more whether or not we offer the AP capstone. What is the AP capstone? So if maybe that's a question that Justyna can help with.
Sure. So the AP capstone is it's a program in a way that the AP has put together to try and make sure that students have the opportunity to maybe have an independent research project that they could engage in. And also sort of develop some of those critical thinking skills, maybe in a little bit more sort of meaningful and focused manner than they might do if they were only taking standalone AP courses. And there is a specific requirement for students that decide to take the AP capstone in that they have to take at least 4 AP courses. So these are standalone year-long courses that they would choose. Once they pass the exam, they also have to earn at least an AP grade of a 3 or above. But alongside that, and this is the capstone sort of bit, they have to take AP seminar and AP research, which are specifically designed courses that help to foster sort of that critical thinking and communication and develop students' communication skills. And then they finish with an AP research, a research project, which students will choose, and they will submit that for that particular capstone. And they will then get recognized if they pass the AP seminar and AP research, along with the 4 other AP courses they've chosen at that level 3 or above. They will have that distinction as an AP scholar. And this is something that many students would like to pursue, because it gives them that opportunity to have something that's really personalized to them in terms of a research project they're interested in, and develop some skills that they might not necessarily have at that level otherwise, to be able to sort of develop. And obviously they get that accreditation from the AP, which is very desirably seen, favorably seen by colleges and universities if they apply as an AP scholar. So that's what the AP capstone is. Maybe Curt would like to chime as to how the universities and colleges see AP scholars as applicants.
Yeah, I saw the question was particularly relative to universities in Asia, and I can say this: yes, universities in Asia do value AP as well as the IB. There are many AP schools actually in Asia, and of course, the universities need to admit their students. So they are extremely familiar with AP. It's an old program, and so your student can be very successful applying to universities in Asia with AP or IB.
Okay, then there's another question that comes through regarding standardized testing, specifically SAT. So the question is whether or not we have a class or some kind of prep program for SAT. Would you like to answer that, Curt?
Sure. It's funny they ask. We added that this year, actually. We work with a group out of Singapore called Test Takers. They came highly recommended through all the research I did. In fact, I was looking at providers from as far away as the United States, and we landed on this group, and they just worked with a group of our grade 11 students here in January, and have been working with them. They were here on the ground for 4 days, and then they have worked with them virtually since then, in lead up to the March SAT. And I've seen the students take diagnostic tests from before the program, and then they took another one a week ago, and they're going to be taking another one here very soon. And so far, the students are seeing very good results, increasing by quite a bit. And so I'm hopeful when they take the March SAT that's going to be pay off really well. And again, anecdotally, the feedback was extremely positive about this group. So I'm excited to be working with them. I like them so much that I'm bringing them back in August to prepare students for the September SAT. And the plan is to bring them here twice a year to work with our students.
Thank you. There's another question here regarding academic English requirement for students enrolling to our school in high school, and how do we have the support for students who are coming from a school where English is not the main language of instruction? What is our EAL program like? Maybe that question's for Justyna.
Thank you, Rosalind. Yes, so we do have students whose language profile is not necessarily that English is their strongest language. They come to us with a variety of different abilities, but there is a requirement for them to have a specific proficiency of English in order to be successful in the high school. So that would be something that you would need to sort of inquire as part of your admissions program to make sure that your child, and usually sort of that would be either a language placement test, such as a WIDA score, for example, or a language placement test to make sure that the student will be able to access our core curriculum. And then if there are students who maybe are almost there but require a little bit more support in terms of their ability in English, we do offer currently English for additional language learners, and also English for academic purposes that will sit alongside our core content classes to help transition those students to be successful learners academically and acquire that English proficiency. But that might be very specific to individual students. So if further information, it's really best to sort of reach out to us individually so that we can have a bit more of a conversation about where your child's actually at.
Thank you. There's another question on AP. How many AP can a student take at ISB potentially? And maybe the answer, Justyna can help that. And then another question following that is for competitive universities, especially in North America, how many AP classes should a student take?
Right, so I'll start with the first part of the question and then hand it over to Curt. So we do have a policy at ISB in terms of capping how many AP students can take. And this really is to help make sure that students are ready, that they're going to be successful, and to provide some level of balance as well in their academics, because these are challenging accelerated courses. So these are open to students in grades 10 and above. And in grade 10, students can take up to 3 AP courses as a grade 10 student. And then in grades 11 and 12, they can take up to 4 AP courses each year. So that sort of gives you an indication of what we feel is an appropriate level of challenge for our most able students. But I'll pass on to Curt, who can maybe sort of add a little bit more what that looks like from a university and college side.
Yeah, and I would like to add that we actually convey our limit of APs to colleges and universities, and that is normal practice amongst independent schools to do that. And so I can say that any admissions office would never expect our students to be able to take more than what we allow, and they read each high school in their own context. So our total number of APs a student can take is 11, which would be a huge amount and would be more than enough to get into any school. And I really, it's hard for me to answer the question about how many APs a student should take for competitive admission, because there's such a vast array of universities. And also, I don't want to give more modest scholars the idea that they should be taking 8, 9 APs if really they should be taking between 0 and 2. So I would say it's a very individual response to that. But I will say that, probably for our students, the students who are applying to the most competitive universities and are in our AP exclusive program probably will be taking 7 or more.
Okay, thank you. To follow that, there's also a question on, we understand that there are limits on the number of college application each student can apply to. What is our ISB's policy in terms of the number of applications? Maybe you can answer that as well, Curt.
Thanks, Roz. I was hoping you'd give me that question. Yeah. So yes, we do have a limit on applications that we will support at ISB, and actually there's a long history to that. And I can say I was formerly at International School Manila when I was part of the genesis of that kind of limit in Asia. So you can all blame me for that. And at the time, we limited to 10 applications in Manila, and ISB did it right at the same time. And that was about 15 years ago when that happened. And the reason being that our philosophy was to encourage students to apply with purpose as opposed to just randomly to universities. And particularly in the US, if you're applying randomly, it waters down the quality of your application pretty drastically. And we found in Asia specifically, when families often are hunting colleges and universities with high ranking and using that almost exclusively to choose colleges, that their applications were not strong, again, because they were just picking highly ranked universities without much purpose. Also, we convey the limit to, sorry, that's my son. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We convey the limit to colleges and universities so they know our limit. And actually, when we came out with this policy 15 years ago, they were really happy that we were doing it, because they knew that if they admitted our students, that there was a good chance that they would yield them at the end of the day, that our students would be more likely to attend. And then recently, our team discussed changing that limit under the changing landscape of admissions and how competitive it is. And so we have actually just last month lifted our limit from 10 to 15 applications, knowing that it's so competitive these days. So every student can only go to one school, and 15 is a lot of applications, and they take an enormous amount of time. So we feel like we can maintain our philosophy and support families at the same time with the limit of 15.
Okay, thank you, Curt. There's another question on interest in non-traditional paths, such as like if the student was to do a gap year or some internship before they go on to university. In that case, would our college counseling program still support the student after the gap year?
We would, yes. Actually, we tell our students that we are their counselors forever. So we actually have quite a few students who either take a gap year or they attempt to transfer colleges a year or two later, and we help all of them for as long as they need.
Okay, I'm actually, there's so many questions coming in right now. I am also mindful of time. So, Rob.
Yeah, I think we got time maybe for two more questions. But as you can see, we have our email address and contact details there. So feel free just to contact us if you have any burning questions. But I think, Roz, we have time for two more.
Okay, I'm trying to add. There's a question on IB. My son started with IB in grade 11 and wished to leave the IB program and do AP in grade 12. Would ISB allow for that?
We do have students that change their minds, either because they realize that maybe the program for the IB program, which is a 2-year commitment, or IB courses, was not the right fit or not quite for them. And we do have students that change their mind periodically. And obviously, sort of, if they decide to withdraw either from the full IB diploma program or individual IB courses, we then help to counsel and support them to make sure that whatever they choose for the next academic year or even the next semester, if that was to be the case, would allow that student the opportunity to be successful and also sort of align with university and college aspirations. So yes, it would be possible in the right circumstances. If a student was in an IB diploma program, if they withdrew in grade 11, to then choose 1 year AP courses as a grade 12 student. This actually has happened, and we've got a few students that have had that change of pathway this year, having continued some of their IB courses to certificate level over the 2 years, but maybe choosing a couple of AP courses as a grade 12 student.
Okay, and the final question is for Curt. AP is a qualification that is well recognized in North America. My child's thinking of university in the UK. Would that be possible to take AP classes and then go to university in the UK or in Europe?
So yes, AP is well recognized in North America and the rest of the world, actually. So universities worldwide do value AP students. And so actually, if you're looking at UK specifically, if you look at a university's website, you can see exactly what they require for AP exams. So it's exam-based. They generally, for most UK universities, will require somewhere between 3 to 5 AP exams of scores between 3 and 5, and it really depends on the university from there.
Great. Maybe I can just, before we wrap up, we've just got one last question coming in. Are there any classes mixed with AP students, IBDP students, and ISB Diploma students studying together in the same class?
So the answer to that in terms of mixed IB and AP classes would be absolutely not, because they are different courses, they're different programs, and the learning experience and the assessment is different. So we do not mix those classes. The only program or class that would happen where we have a variety of different students would be ones that are not then leading to the qualification of that examination. So we do have some of our ISB courses, for example, which are electives, where you have a variety of different students who might be in other pathways, other courses, studying in the high school, but the actual course they're in for that class would not be an AP or an IB course, but they are multi-grade level sometimes with a mix of different students providing that opportunity.
Okay, that brings us to 8:10. I'm afraid we've gone 10 minutes over there, but thank you very much for your patience. There's still over 100 of you on the line, so this is clearly of interest, great interest to all of you. As I said, we remain open for questions over email. I know certainly Curt and Justyna have to get up very early tomorrow morning, so we'll thank them very much indeed for their time this evening, and we will let them go. We can also send you a recording of this webinar, so if you'd like to share this with family and friends, please, or your kids or your parents, please do go ahead. So I hope to see you all at ISB very, very soon. Please do go ahead and fill out our inquiry form through Open Apply here, and we'll be following up with you tomorrow with an email to make sure that the next steps are very clear. So thank you very much indeed, everybody, for joining, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.